Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Well, I say new video, but once again we're covering Harman Smith, who is coping, seething, mauling, crying, bitching, and just all around complaining about Palworld, the game he claims plagiarizes Pokemon, yet says that with absolutely no evidence to back it up whatsoever. And you know the whole spiel by now. If a creature collecting RPG does well, then clearly it's a ripoff of Pokemon, which in turn was a ripoff of Dragon Quest. I know for a fact Nintendrones like Harman Smith hate this image, but it's true. You can tell which monsters Pokemon ripped right off from Dragon Quest, right? So let's begin.
Well. Look at how the cookie crumbles. Look at how the tables have turned. It's like the Palworld CEO, Pocketpair CEO, went into his office and just flipped his own table upside down, because that is what this looks like to me. This is hysterical. The Palworld CEO, you know, the brand that blatantly ripped off Pokemon and bragged about it.
Get lost, Harman. First of all, Palworld didn't plagiarize anything from Pokemon. You Pokemon fans continue to say that Palworld plagiarizes Pokemon, yet say it without any sort of proof, and even if Nintendo does take this to court, do you know what will actually happen? As in, the worst thing that is going to happen. Nintendo will, at absolute worst, say, hey, your pals are too close to our Pokemon characters for comfort, so you have to change them. And that's assuming that this actually does go to court, and if it does, it will be in Japan, as Pocketpair is located in Japan, and is based in Japan, as is Nintendo. In addition to that, not once has Tokuro Mizobe, the Pocketpair CEO, ever bragged about plagiarizing or ripping off Pokemon, because it's never happened. He said that he viewed Pokemon as a sort of spiritual predecessor to Palworld, but he never bragged about ripping off Pokemon. At this point, Harman is just making stuff up as he goes along, and for proof of that, look at how he never provides evidence to back up his claims, with his claims here being, "Trust me, bro,"
is now complaining about cheap Chinese knockoffs. Oof.
I'll take never actually happened, and Harman is just making stuff up at this point for 1,000, Alex.
China has already started producing their Palworld clones, right? The exact same thing with a bigger budget and more microtransactions.
Because Nintendo has never released a game that has microtransactions in it before, right? Oh, wait a minute. Anyways, all silliness and joking aside, Pocketpair admitted up front that what they did was basically the antithesis to good game design. When they started, they didn't even have a budget, and if they did, it was small, like just 10,000 yen, I think? They were small and unknown, but now look at them now. They're becoming a household name, and whenever something becomes popular, yeah, you're going to have people who love something so much, or see that it's so popular, they want to release their own version of it to get that sweet cash money. For example, look at the Soulsborne genre. Whenever Dark Souls came out, loads of people loved it, I think. But even if that many people didn't love Dark Souls 1 and Demon's Souls, eventually, more and more people got into it, some of them even being other game developers themselves, and they thought, you know, I really want to bring the Dark Souls difficulty into my game. In fact, there is a game that I love from my childhood called The Seventh Saga, and everyone hated that game back in the day due to how difficult it was. But nowadays, thanks to games like Dark Souls, it has become insanely popular. As for creature collecting RPGs, that stuff was coming out long before the Pokemon games did it. The honor for the earliest known creature collecting RPG is Megami Tensei, which I'm pretty sure was influenced by another Japan-exclusive creature collecting RPG, where like humans had been wiped extinct, but I cannot for the life of me remember the name or if it's even what inspired Megaten. But anyways, Megaten was the first creature collecting RPG out there, and it even beat out Wizardry 4 by 3 months. Weird, huh?
Right? China is bootlegging the bootleg. China is doing that thing. And it couldn't have happened to a more deserving company, right? Like I do think this is going to be like the issue going forward with companies like Pocketpair, companies that are enabled by game journos and YouTubers who want to stick it to Nintendo, sticking it to the alternative Nintendo property, the bootleg one that's edgy and dark and ooh, it does everything we wish Nintendo would do in their games, right?
Palworld isn't a bootleg of Pokemon, and Auroria, that's the game Harman is talking about here, the Chinese version of Palworld. And while it looks similar to Palworld, that doesn't automatically mean bootleg, Harman. Harman, you use a lot of words that I don't think mean what you think they mean. Also, did you see that shit-eating grin on Harman's face at the start of this clip? That's what makes me think he has either autism or Down syndrome. Either way, something clearly isn't right with the guy. Maybe his mom dropped him on his head one too many times as an infant? Anyways, the definition I got of bootleg from the Oxford Languages version of the dictionary is made, distributed, or sold illegally. Which of those things, if any, did Pocketpair do when making Palworld, huh, Harman? The answer is not a single one. In addition to that, there are no laws against what either company is doing, which Harman would know if he did just the tiniest iota of research. I'm sorry that I keep repeating myself in regards to this guy's talking points, folks, but he repeats himself so much that, I swear to God, makes me think that he's reading from a script at this point, which is very ironic, as I know for a fact that he doesn't script out any of his videos. That's why there's so much dead air in them. Or maybe I'm just flat out wrong about all of this, and Harman just has a humiliation fetish. But I guess that's a secret between him and God, I guess.
Games like this, bootleg versions of Nintendo properties are going to get bootlegged themselves, right? That is the current situation with these games, right? They are just copies of a copy. And this is why you will never, ever see anything good come from these studios, because they cannot actually innovate.
Excuse me? Harman, the only game IP that I'm seeing that cannot innovate is Pokemon. Seriously, folks, tell me honestly, are we not past the point where we can safely call Pokemon a scam? Oh no, wait a minute, don't answer that. Because we absolutely are past the point where we can call Pokemon a scam, because just like what Tecmo Koei is doing with the Dynasty Warriors games, or rather, all of the Warriors/Musou games at this point, Pokemon has been selling us the exact same game with a different coat of paint for the past 20 years now. Seriously, there is a reason why people are calling Pokemon Nintendo's Madden, while some other people call Pokemon Nintendo's Call of Duty. And then there are people like me who call Pokemon Nintendo's Dynasty Warriors. Seriously, look at every single Pokemon game out there and tell me, if you can, that is, how they supposedly innovate, Harman. I'm gonna go ahead and call it now and say that you can't, because you would be hard-pressed to find a single thing that Pokemon has done that another game hasn't already done, and better, without actually moving the goalposts and performing mental gymnastics.
They cannot create anything. All they can do is just rip off what's popular from other games, right? That's basically what Palworld did, and I'm sure that's what the Chinese knockoff is doing too, right? That is what we're seeing here. To put it very, very simply, we are seeing Pocketpair get what they fucking deserve. And I cannot wait to see more bootlegs come up and start, destroying Palworld's relevancy.
And I can't wait to see you learn to focus your camera better, because dear God is your camera focus screwy. Seriously, folks, have you noticed that in the last several videos that I've done on Harman, his camera has done all sorts of odd adjustments because he just can't sit still? Also, Harman, another thing that I can't wait for is for you to learn how to edit your videos, because there are so many moments of dead air throughout all of them that it makes the video just outright boring. Not that editing them would make your video any less boring, however. But learn how to script out your videos, or at the very least, learn how to edit out the bits of dead air. Also, I can't wait to see you open a book that doesn't later just turn out to be your Nintendo Switch game cartridge case. I mean an actual book too, by the way, a dictionary preferably, because you use a lot of words that don't mean quite what they think you mean. And again, how exactly is Pal World or Auroria a bootleg of another game? You still have not answered that question. But at this point, I've grown accustomed to you not answering questions or doing research because, well, you'll see it in a later video. Trust me.
Right? You know, Pokemon's going to be fine. Pokemon's going to be more successful than ever, right? But it's Pal World that will not be able to maintain itself going forward. Pocketpair is a complete joke, and I cannot wait to see these frauds go out of business.
Well then, you're gonna be waiting for a mighty long time then, because remember, Pocketpair sold what? About 12 million copies of Pal World on Steam alone? And that's before we look at the sales numbers for their other game, Craftopia. That's right, Harman. I actually know how to do basic research. Anyways, folks, that's going to be all for this video. It was a short one, and I got to roast Harman's nuts over Pal World again because, dear God, I thought Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring lived rent-free in his head, but nope. Pal World gave both of those games eviction notices to GTFO Harman's head because it's the one game that he constantly brings up no matter what the scenario he's talking about is. And if it isn't Pal World, it's Baldur's Gate 3 for winning GOTY. And if it isn't Baldur's Gate 3 for winning GOTY 2023, it's Pal World for allegedly ripping off and plagiarizing Pokemon. But that'll be it for this video, folks. And I have a few other Harman Smith videos that I would like to cover as well, so stay tuned!